Yeah, this is happening.
Then we should ping via Discord so people will ping.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, streaming. It looks fine, Joe.
Okay,
Yeah?
this is
It looks good? Okay, good.
Okay, we'll put it in the rotation.
All right.
Let me see. I'm gonna go ping
Where am
my
I?
Discord here.
The what box?
The red box.
It's over there.
Can you grab your little thing out of it?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, I just
Hi,
did it
everyone.
in there, like, on top still today. Ooh. Did you bring your toko stuff down?
It's here somewhere.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, it is. No, you're one of the trash ones. So, a non-trash one.
Okay, are we going clockwise or counterclockwise?
It seems
I pass that way.
There's
a
a
sound
sound
section
this
All
way.
right,
Alright,
let's go that way.
that direction.
Yeah.
We're
Figure it
here.
out. People can keep track of it.
Did anyone ping the Discord?
I'm doing it right now.
Thank you.
We're all coloring.
All right.
Coloring.
So we had a slight schedule
Oh my
change.
god, I freaking did it.
We moved toko coloring time to technical difficulty time. And now we have creating cohesive designs with Craeve.
Alright. Hello. I don't know that I'll be able to be on the camera and
Just
not
speak
watch
up.
this.
Yep, all good.
We love you, Craeve.
If you want, we could walk you around over here so you're standing here next to the camera.
Okay, so that
Ping has been sent.
Well, it might be if you don't want to project super loud.
Okay, yeah.
All right, I'll hold that. You walk around. And then you can stand/sit here if you want.
Okay, well this is a little...
Yeah? Yeah.
I think this will work.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go build my PowerPoint for my next thing. Walking in front of the screen.
What's the next thing?
I'm reading a story and then I think it's something about telling you all why you have to lose.
Yeah, we're losers.
Ooh. Okay. Good. So this is creating cohesive designs. It is just my own way of dealing with design. So some tips might work for you, some might not. Feel free to take what works and ignore what doesn't. And this is the Dakota that we'll be designing here.
Good child.
Yes, that is the Gino.
Do we want the lights lower in here?
Can we?
The far right there. No, the far right panel. The one right against the wall. Yes.
one?
Press one button down.
Press which one?
The button below the one that's lit. There we go.
Ooh.
There you go.
We're so fancy.
All right. So this is also the Gino and design that will be raffled off to people present here at the end of this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So this Caribou Hada.
Give me the child.
This is gonna be like an arm workout because I'm just holding the
Yeah.
iPad in front of me.
Do you want a chair so you can sit?
I mean, there's this chair here. I probably could.
Consider it.
But then my head might just be right there.
You can see it on the screen if it is.
Hold on. Let me get cozy. How are we doing? Oh, my head might be in it, but that's okay.
We'll just see your
Fabulous hair. Head of
This is good. All right, so I wanted to do this live kind of, but obviously with technical difficulties, that would be a struggle. And I design mostly on PC, but I do have video of almost the whole design process in this. But my first tips are planning the design before you start. So knowing where to start. For me, I always suggest if you know you're going to do import edits or physical traits, do those first. And there's a couple reasons for that. The first is it will change the mood of the character, and the mood might influence how you design it. So if it's like a snarly Dakota, and you design it first, not expecting snarls, then it might not be the best way to design it. And also it'll change, if you're doing physical edits, it will change the shape of the face for if you're doing a snarl. So if you designed the Dakota first and then did snarls, you'd have to edit all those markings to fit the new shape of the face. And then I have little tips in here. So with physical edits, the amount of detail that you'll be able to see in that space depends on the colors and complexity of the design. So if you have a white face, you'll be able to see that snarl really easily. If you have super dark area of that face or super complex, like high contrast, it'll be harder to read from afar. Move on. So here is like a 10x speed of just me doing that edit. So it's just doing a little snarl, just a tiny like irritated expression.
I commend you for not lowering the opacity of the original
Right,
layout while
yeah.
you're doing this, because that is the only way I'm able to do edits.
I do that
So
usually.
you don't sketch first?
On this one I didn't because it was pretty simple, but for most of them I will. But if it's just like fur, sometimes I won't sketch because it's like, it's just a waste of time to me. Because edits can be, like they don't have to be super polished.
Yeah.
So always start with the markings that have the most impact on the design. So those, like the most common, most obvious ones are going to be piebalds and any variants of that. They will always be the highest impact marking on a design. Other markings that have required ranges or colors, like restricted seal, could be that. Those are potential for that. You could also choose which marking you want. Like if you have an idea in advance that you want to, say, have this Dakota be white accents and you want those fake piebald edges, or maybe you just want light colored accents or dark accents, but you want it to be max range. You might have that kind of idea before you start, and you want to start with that marking if you have that. And then sometimes the marking with the most impact may be one that will determine the flow of the design. And for example, that might be Wolverine because that kind of moves throughout the whole Dakota. It might be like shadow marks, might be barring, anything that may determine how the other markings flow around it. Does that make sense? The last thing is, if you're not sure, oftentimes starting off with the face can help because you can get an idea of what you want from the design and then kind of use that face as if you're designing like the book cover, and then the rest of the Dakota can be like the back cover and the insides. And then the next thing is to determine the mood that you want in this design. It could be a whole bunch of things. There's some options here, angry or sweet. If you want the design to be high contrast colors or low contrast colors, something super unique and like weird for those markings, or if you want something that looks natural like a wolf or a bear, or something that looks like a classic Dakota. You can decide if you want something complex or simple. That can be done with genobombs or mark colored accents. Either of those can be complex or simple, depending on how you plan out the design. And of course, you can have a theme or an inspiration. And then sometimes you don't quite know what you want at first, that's fine. And even sometimes if you know what you want, that might change as you're going through the design. And sometimes it's just a journey. Sometimes you have to think whether or not you want to stick to that exact mood or just let it take you wherever it ends up. Here are two examples of just mark colored accents and how the plan and mood of them can make them pretty different. And now we need to work smarter, not harder.
But
Yeah. Alright, let's move on.
How proud were you when you thought of that one?
I had to put at least one pun in here.
You are kind of our pun master.
That's true.
Alright, so knowing that you're going to start with your highest impact markings, you can start mapping out those markings, meaning you're just going to put the placements of them. They don't need to be started and finished one by one. So if you're starting with your piebald, don't do the piebald and then move on to the next marking. Just start placing the markings one by one. So that can be blobs of color. Be like, I think I want the piebald here. And then that means that the Wolverine can show here. So just placing them down. No refining needed. So even though you're not putting any fur texture or anything in there, you still can consider the fur direction and the volume of the Dakota's body to kind of map out where those will be. And again, there's no need to design the entire marking if most of it is going to be covered up. So sometimes I see people who have a full design done and say, I need to put the piebald on this. I would suggest...
Isn't that what the piebald design guide says?
The piebald design guide says that as like this is how the marking works. It goes on top of everything, but everybody does design it differently. This is just my suggestion to keep it easier on you. I mean, either are fine ways to do it, but I think that if you do the piebald first, it saves you a whole lot of time and like potential heartbreak if you liked what you designed underneath it and now you have to cover more than half of it up. So a lot of problems that I see people struggle with is working with a whole bunch of markings and making that still look cohesive. So just as you're putting different markings in, remember your goal and for the mood and the plan for the design. There's also no rule that each marking needs to be its own layer. So work whatever way works best for you. Sometimes I'll use multiple layers for one marking, actually quite often. In this design that I do, there's extended marked, and I will almost always do a extended marked layer for the face and extended marked layer for the neck because I want to be able to refine both of those without messing them up. And then sometimes you can do one layer for multiple markings. This is helpful if they're going to be the same color and you already know where they're going to be. In this design, I have saddle and bear marks that end up being merged into one layer, so I can do gradient over all of them and have it be all the same color there. So here is the design process, the first bit of it. And this is just starting with mapping out the markings. So here I'm starting on the Wolverine because I decided that will probably be the marking that will determine the flow of this design. I didn't necessarily want it to be Wolverine that's on top of everything and super stark and high contrast, but I did know that I wanted to start with it and have a good amount of Wolverine there and that it will kind of determine where the other markings are going to be placed. So this is 18 minutes of design. Wolverine was also a good potential choice for this because you can do a lot on the face, and I knew that I wanted to use it to highlight some of the little snarls. so if you have any questions, feel free to just shout them out during this. I do love that everybody is just coloring and watching.
Coloring, watching,
Very,
signing each
very
other's
important.
books.
Yeah.
This is everything I wanted out of Toko. I'm sitting back here watching everyone sit and color. Craive's designing up there. We look so professional with our projectors and our ring lights and all that jazz.
Our boardroom.
Our
And then
boardroom.
Victor comes in and tells me, wow, you got like crayons and.
Yeah.
Everything I wanted out of TokoCon in this moment.
Is there a collar on this?
There is collared. Usually if there's a lot of markings on the neck, I don't bother. And I just at the end make sure that something can count as collar.
Yeah.
Or at the end I'll be like, is collar a good opportunity to put another color in there? So since this was already a Genobomb, I didn't want to be adding a ton of colors in.
Yeah.
And somebody asked if it was being done live. It's not. These are recorded. But this is showing at real time.
And what program do you use?
This was done on the computer, I believe. So this would be in Photoshop.
Craeve for the stream, let's ask a question. Repeat the question for the mic and then answer.
Okay.
I've had to do this a few times. I've learned all these silly things. Thank you. I was trying to do it on my phone. It wasn't working. So you put like a lot of thought into these designs before you actually start them, huh?
Sometimes, yes. But at least the piece of like figuring out which marking is high impact, that becomes second nature.
Yeah, you put significantly more effort into this than I ever do in the 5 designs I have done.
But yeah.
Start coloring.
The main point is like, please, if you have a piebald Dakota, design the piebald first, or at least like map it out first. Don't do this beautiful design then have to cover it up.
White layer, erase.
Yeah, white layer, erase, piebald.
Yep.
Mhm, exactly.
I'm pretty sure like 3 of my design tokens are piebald.
Okay, Max Piebald, that's the way
Yeah,
to do
basically,
it.
max piebald.
Next piebald is like.
Right.
I think the other 2 might be like albinos.
I have 6 designs, of which I think 3 are base only, and then 1's like double merle, so I just made like 2 color patterns and that's it.
We got the whole designers in here. How many of them are fills? What?
What marking are you
Yeah,
looking
that's
at now?
Done
So,
sitting over here saying I got
this
39
is
design
me trying to
tokens.
figure out what I'm doing with
How many
Merle.
of them are a
Okay.
fill?
So I'm trying to go from like the highest impact marking to the least.
Mhm.
So that's why I started with the Wolverine and then the extended marked. It's not like super high impact, but in the area that it is, I knew that I wanted it present there. So on the neck. And then Merle, I knew was going to be kind of an outlier on this design where it's mostly soft. So that's why I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it. Ended up being mostly on the legs.
Do you
and belly.
usually block in with a softer brush?
Either. I kind of like doing the softer versus the harder brush because sometimes I have to clean it up less
Yeah.
versus like a hard edge looks a little unfinished.
Yeah.
Is this a meerkat helper child?
It is not necessarily, but it could be.
Well, no, meerkat helper is one of Cap's kids.
Oh, I thought you meant to get the ideal meerkat one.
No.
This is not.
Not, okay.
This is my Sphinx Kino and
One of Daph's kids.
I think it was Tina's Caribou Hada.
Okay.
And it didn't pass on piebald,
Does
sadly.
this require any tokens? If you win the design, do you have to use any tokens to?
No POTA tokens. Nope.
Because I have 0.
Nope.
Me too.
I think it's
Maybe
just the probably large item, but
Okay,
I'll
yeah,
provide that
That's fine. Yes.
for the poorest of Toko people. Alright, So that is that. Moving on to finishing up the design. Final touches. So once you've placed the markings and you are pretty happy with how things are, you can start refining them. So I would say like don't bother getting into fur texture or like the very detailed pieces of everything until you are like, this is definitely where I want everything. And then for fur texture, for the most part, I think it should flow with the fur direction. You can see that in the import lines, and you can also look at any other animals, wolves or whatnot, if you're unsure. Notice where the Dakota is fluffier or has shorter fur, and you can do more fur texture or longer fur texture in those fluffier areas. And also I found that using moderation with fur texture tends to get my favorite results. If I end up doing too much fur texture, especially on merle or accents, it starts to look kind of stiff instead of being, like it gets rid of the original flow and shape of the marking that I liked, and it ends up looking a little stiff. And here is the rest of the design. It's a little over 20 minutes just to finish it up. And I'm still a little bit of the planning stage here with the merle, but then I go into the fur texture.
Are those stripes there thylacine or are they gonna be bear marks?
Those are gonna be bear marks. At this point, I haven't remembered that there's thylacine.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Man, I wanna go home and design.
Also, I rotate a lot. I try not to rotate a lot for this one because it can be dizzying, but I do tend to rotate a lot. And I will also zoom out a bunch. Like once I place some blobs down, I'll zoom out to make sure I like the overall look before going back in and working on it more.
I flipped the canvas like 90,000 times.
And so like on this design, points, it has two different color points. It has the black points from the merle and the lilac points separately. Like either of those could have been a high impact marking if I wanted them to be. It could have been like points really hard edge and above most things and contrasting against the Dakota. But I ended up wanting to keep them fairly simple, and I had them just like a soft gradient underneath the merle. Like any design can go many different ways depending on what you choose. Maybe not any design. Some of them, not as much. Seal,
Really a one direction.
albinos.
Unless they have
I've
shadow
grown
marks.
to love my seals.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I used to call it my curse because 90% of my abandoned tokos ended up with seal.
It was one of the easiest ones to land. I don't know how many seal abandoned kids I've put out there. There's a lot.
What I want to see is more people breeding activity UTs on sealed Dakotas. I feel
I'll
like
have
there
to
are so
start
few.
adding that into my rotation of my pandas.
Mine.
Yes, seal and black points
Yeah.
makes
Oh, you're so
perfect
right.
pandas.
I think I have one Gino that
Let me
has
show you my
creepy
favorite
black points,
panda.
but I don't think it's a light toned.
My next goal is getting shoulder marked.
I have a
Shoulder
daft
mark.
panda.
I need a bunch of silver slots so I can.
Yeah, let me show you my daft panda.
Dude, I have a design that bounced around in corrections like 4 different times, and I still
He's a point
haven't corrected the form because there's another form mistake that they caught right before it uploaded.
That's so valid. I have a design that would take like 2 seconds to fix
But also
that got
I
corrected like a
have-
month ago, and I just like still have not. God, this is why I have no tokos, is because I'm so bad at like committing and like actually uploading.
Most of them.
I have at least 5 beautiful, like very heavily edited Dakotas that I just don't have the bank for to upload.
You're so valid. That's why
But like
design commissions, because people like
Filipinos
paying with
make
TP and then.
perfect little pandas
I
with like
haven't
the
read
small
someone yet.
ears.
Kinos
On the bright
so
side, I
perfect.
finished up 6 rolls while we've been here.
Nice.
Whoa.
Yes.
So here I started going to the fur texture and I sped this up 5 times because
Probably for the best.
otherwise we'd be here a little while.
Do you use smudge over like Tina's special
I-
secret?
I'm starting to try that out, but with Dakotas, I'm so used to just doing the like brush and erase
Yeah.
that that's just easier for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what other species do you design?
I do some Shadu.
Yeah, we're passing them around.
On
the side.
rare occasion, I'll do others if people commission them or like trade for them. I've done some Felvar. I've done like pretty much a couple of most species. I just don't prefer to.
Colors just make so much more sense to my brain usually.
It's just a lot more effort to like have to read the design guides every time. So yeah, I'm like doing some for texture. I try not to do a ton of it. Or like I said, I feel like it just ends up looking stiff. So I do keep some of those hard edges or smooth edges.
See, I wish I could use a brush this big when I'm doing fur texturing, but I get so anxious that I just go super small and then I end up hating most of what I do.
I'm like super heavy handed, so I have to be careful.
It looks so easy.
It's that 5 times.
Yeah. And I'll do bear marks the same way that I do Merle, with just brush and erase. But I think that if you can do the smudge technique, do that. It works just as well. Probably takes a little less time. Or if you have a really nice brush and you can just do one line and it comes out nice. I haven't found that brush for me, but
I feel that.
I've got one that's pretty good. I feel like I want to adjust it a little bit to have softer edges, but the shape is really nice.
and this one piece was like my struggle for this design.
Oh no.
No.
So I just edited it a couple times. And took this back to real time to start the bear marks, and then I speeded up again to 5 times after doing 1 or 1.5 of them. Yeah, this is so much easier than designing in like live. Can just relax.
Just relax, wait for the questions to roll in.
Yeah. I just realized like, oh god, I'm gonna have to design on the iPad, which I do, but like usually I'll finish it up on the computer.
I thought you were
And
about to say design on the iPad.
You're not using like a super tapered brush when you erase.
no, I just
Makes,
use
like,
the
interesting
standard
shapes.
soft brush, but I use pen pressure on it.
Yeah. It just makes like more natural shapes, I feel like.
Right, do we wanna, for the raffle, have people write their names down in a list? Or how do we wanna do this?
Do you want a raffle hat, or I can just do like random dot list?
Yeah, so long as we know who's to each one. Or unless you just have a list of people.
Yeah, I'll walk around, make sure I've got everybody in there.
Okay.
Randomize
And I guess you can opt out if you don't want the hottest.
If you don't want a beautifully designed caribou hada, you can opt out.
You can opt out of this room.
Alright. Come here and get all the names. Well, alright, you're not in it, obviously.
No, I'm not.
Alright, Legacy, you want in?
Yes, please.
please.
Yep. Oh shit, now I have to pretend I know everybody's name.
Oh, fish.
Yep, I totally wrote that. I'm kidding, I wrote that.
It's okay, I misspelled my own username in the books, so.
You guys all have my nickname for you in this list.
Yeah.
So Hex, and then I got a disc, and then there's Lua, and Ibby, and Scribbles, who I'm making sure to call Scribbles and not Frey.
We're trying.
Sap with 2 P's. Then I got Theo, and I have Kara, and I have Spam. Spam.
As.
I know, I was always like, that's, it is as,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
as like a, yeah, all those different ones, yeah.
I don't think
Depends.
want
Only if you want 2 entries.
No, I don't want 2 entries, but thank
Alright.
you, love.
I'm done. And Jill, am I missing anybody?
As much as I love Craeve Designs, exempt me.
And somehow Tina's going to win this round.
Might do. She might.
Don't put that into the
luck
air.
of the devil. Alright, so on my list, I have, if you don't hear your name when I'm done, raise your hand. At least a name that you recognize. Legacy, Okapi, Theo, Kex, Disc, Islua, Ibby, Scribbles, Saf with 2 P's, Kara, Spam, Seer, and then Jill. I put myself in here. I'm like that. Anybody? Did I miss you? Alright, just hit random and whoever's at the top of the
We'll
list.
leave it at the end.
Okay, well, I'm taking this back because I'm still working on something.
We're not making PowerPoints.
We're not making PowerPoints.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
at all.
sorry.
Definitely.
I'm entranced. I've been drawing more.
Yeah, so like I tried to have the merle and the saddle and bear marks follow the shapes of the Wolverine, and keeping it pretty simple for being a Genobomb, limiting the colors in this design. And then I think pretty soon to now I realized we styled the scene, and I'm like, oh great, there's a spot for it. I can add 2 stripes, and it can be the same color as the bear marks.
That's all you really need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did the economy go into free fall? I think 2017.
I think
That
right.
sounds
That
about
sounds
right.
about right.
That's when, yeah.
That's when it
things
started getting really bad.
crashing. Because it was between when you commissioned, or the
Yeah.
toko tokens,
The Toko Toko.
and the time you actually finished it, they'd gone from like $15 each to 2
Yeah.
in the time it took them to finish their deal.
Well, that's right, our first introduction to Kex.
Yeah.
The slowest art deal.
Did I care?
She got all the art.
Did I ever log the HP?
She wanted the
Felt
wolves.
that.
I did.
I got what I wanted out of it.
I can do that with my eyes closed.
And then I felt really bad only giving you guys the tokens that we had agreed on in the first place, because they had gone like,
Shit happens. I was running towards
doing
that,
dice.
Behold,
unique
a
trait.
super nerd.
oh,
Yay.
yeah.
So that was
Very
Avi did that one, right?
Is it none of these have to count for HP?
Nope.
Avik, I'm not actually sure. I'm just guessing when I say people's usernames.
What are you doing now? Oh, is this collar?
It could be.
Oh,
This is me adding a little bit more of the extended marked
gotcha.
to the neck, because I added some of the dark brown to the shoulders, and just felt like it needed a little bit more there. Almost done.
Ari's asking what the actual Gino is. In
Oh,
podcast questions.
it'll be up on the screen at the end.
Okay.
I can also find the link to it, which I'll need anyways.
Craig, was this a real toko that you designed, or was this like a, you realize
You
that
bred it.
you are one of the 3 superpowers of tokos, and therefore you have the power of creation.
Yeah, it was.
I just said, but this one exists.
That makes sense.
Cute.
That way you can just make one for each of us now.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
my bad. You get a Dakota.
Okay, toko.
I'm so obsessed with this type of thing. I love him so
So
much.
cute. I listed one of my newest videos to the pen, because I feel like I have to be loyal to my old
I have so many
lady. Yeah, yeah. Actually, made it back up
notifications.
with slots.
Oh, did you?
That's the only reason I can miss my parents to pay for it. I think I was like 15. Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but okay. Tokos is like the hobby that I let myself spend money on, so
Yeah.
whenever I'm like commissioning another black design, I just like write it off in my head.
Yeah.
Like, this is tokos, it's fine.
It's like taxes, you know?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, found the Gino.
Fancy ones, toko with the ring, black suit.
Oh, can I take a picture of that? Send it to Nico, because that's hers.
Almost, well, let me finish it.
Okay, you
and
finish
then-
it, and then I'll take a picture. I sent her a picture of it already. I was like, look.
That's why I was testing colors down here.
Brown, brown, is that, what's brown? Finally get a look. Did I get one?
Is this min white?
Yeah, so here, I knew, this also has star marks, and I knew that I wanted to do pretty minimal star marks. Actually, I don't really like star marks.
Crime.
I like flecking, I just don't,
I'm with you.
it,
Oh, okay.
it's hard to make it look right, I don't know. So I knew that I wanted to do star marks coming off of min white, so I left them to the end.
One of my guilty tips is that if I have like rose points or lilac points and I don't like how they're looking with the other colors in the design, I just crank it to the lightest, like
Mhm.
make it mimic minimum white.
Yep. Especially with tan points, you can
Yeah.
do that so
Yeah.
easily. Yeah, because sometimes, especially with points, like those can often be that like marking of most impact because of the color.
Yeah. I mean, they're such a great marking, it's
Yeah.
just gonna be hard to make them fit in sometimes.
Like on this one, I ended up changing the base coat color
Yeah.
swatch because it just didn't work with the lilac and black point colors.
Yeah.
One of the, I would say, one of the hardest things is trying to, like sometimes you do a design and you're like, yeah, I know exactly how the point colors are gonna match into this. And other times you're just like, there's no good way to make these colors all look nice together, so I just need to find some way to make it not be an eyesore.
Yeah.
Zombie tokos.
Yeah. Moss is honestly still one of the markings where I'm like, I have to have the perfect combination of markings with a moss for it to be good for me. Otherwise, I just look at it and I'm just like, this looks like a cute toko. I hate it.
Yeah.
But like cream tawny moss, I can vibe with because I can make something nice with that. But like the others, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
Tawny moss is really good. And the cream ones. I agree.
I think any cream swatch is just objectively the best.
Objectively superior.
Plus, unless you're lock, you enjoy making the marked creamy colored.
Wait, Locke doesn't like it?
No. She likes that black marked.
I like black marks too,
Should say less
I
yours.
just don't like drawing it when I then have to draw them.
Yeah.
If you make me an activity and your Dakota has more than minimum marks and you don't put the mark on the toko, I will complain to this one. And this one will be like, but you're gonna roll it. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna roll it. You don't have to like it.
If it's more than min, I will put it in my activity, but if it's just min,
I usually like fancy it up a bit.
For some photos, you have to put the name up because otherwise there's no way to tell the mark.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's like, no, so you have to put it there because otherwise it looks just like that.
If your Dakota has 2 markings and marked is one of them, I better see every single bit of marks on that toko. Otherwise, I will be disappointed in you. You will get the look of shame.
I think I have a couple that are just base and maybe like marked.
see, if it's
In the
just
same
based on
thing,
marks,
so
then I don't generally do min marks.
Is this?
Yeah, I usually do more on that. Just stare at my screws real quick.
The worst is when I have a Dakota and they have minimum mark, but then I do just like a little more than minimum on them. Like on Aju, my packmate, she has the little like whisker spots.
Little mole.
But then every time I draw her without like a mouth, because I do like a simple style, I'm like, now I have to find some awkward way to put those like dots there. But it's like, this is
I don't
weird.
think you need to.
See, I feel like I have to though.
I like to do like a little dot under the eyes. That's like my favorite.
Let's go to yes.
I love that, with like the star marks coming off the
Mm.
light.
That looks cool. So good.
Study the Craeve and.
Yeah. And some people have to give a whole pile of books.
Oh, but those star marks are looking great.
I've tried to like just do flecking and then recolor it light. And I'm still like, I don't like this that much.
Still like doesn't work.
Probably a good
somehow.
idea, yeah.
I'm gonna finish this. I did take bites of it.
I thought about handing it to you earlier and being like, if this is in your possession, will you eat it? But
I've got the okay.
I know. That's why I didn't. I know you better at this point. So at least it's earlier than like 4 p.m. and you're eating food.
Yeah, we're already better than yesterday.
Look, it's a coder thing, okay? It is.
Now you're claiming
this
that.
One, I swear to God. I'll come home from work, it's like, you know,
I'll back her up
like
on
6,
that.
Yeah.
and I'm like, are you ready for dinner? She's like, yeah, I'm so hungry. And I'm like, what did you eat today? She's like, let's do dinner. And I'm like, what did you eat today? She's like, let's do dinner.
Oh man, I know that conversation.
God. The funny thing too is that one of our cats, Mama Pizza, is very insistent on getting her couch snuggles at lunchtime. And so she'll go down and do lunch on the couch with Mama Pizza, but not actually eat anything. She needs her snug.
I'll let you know.
There's a lot to say, but we don't give her the snug. Lots of.
So fair warning, the door does lock when it's fully closed.
Isn't the door stop or something?
Well, I closed it because it got loud outside. There was a bunch of dudes standing out there who were just having a conversation, enjoying their con, but we were trying to do a presentation. So I was like, close. But it turns out it locks, so we have to let people back in when they leave.
Oh, no.
So no star marks, huh? Don't like them?
And yet these star marks look fantastic.
I just don't like doing them over the whole design.
That's fair.
So Procreate has a brush called Driven Snow, and I make it super big and run it over the design once and go star marks.
Yeah, that
I
works.
take the splatter brush on
I've definitely
clip
done that
and just
too.
go.
Yeah.
I'll do that
Really
if a
create them.
Dakota has like a lot of white markings. Then I'm like, whatever, just splatter it so that it looks like it's coming off of those. Yeah, so that's it. I didn't include the flesh and eyes and all of that, but here is the final one, and time for raffle.
Alright.
If anyone online cannot read what this Gino is, this is extended marked collared cream thylacine brown merle with black points, accents, pond gray, bear marks, star marks, saddle, lilac points, and wolverine.
I can't press the button because my name's on the list. It's just not
Okay.
fair.
What am I doing? Randomize?
Yeah, randomize. And then whoever's at the top of the list wins.
All right, we ready?
Yep.
Do it, do it.
It's not gonna be me.
Or who's
Kara.
Yay!
So I will send you the design, the Dakota, and a large item.
Oh my gosh.
Congrats!
All right.
Also, just invent the large item, don't spend the large item.
Okay.
Comes out of con funds.
That comes out of con funds. The in-game budget for con is intense. The out-of-game budget for con was also slightly intense.
You know.
All right.
Alright, yay!
Thank you, Craeve.
That was creating cohesive designs with Craeve. Thank you, Craeve. That was wonderful. I learned much about designs. I'm still not going to do them, but they were wonderful.
Maybe you'll get 6 designs now.
Maybe I'll get 6. Okay, so let's go ahead and unplug you from here. And
It is technically 12:30 if people need to get food.
okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I might need to step out for a little bit just to.
Yeah. So how about we call this 30-minute lunchtime? Everybody go get food, come back. Yes, we're a little behind schedule. This is Toko's. We flexible. And then about 1 o'clock, we'll come back in and we'll decide what we want to pull next on the schedule. Okay?
Sounds like a plan.
Cool, cool, cool.
And of
Cool.
course, you get to bring food back and sit here if you want that.
Oh yeah,
This
you
is our
can bring
room.
food back here because we got a table.
Or you can eat on your own if you prefer.
Yeah, we're not gonna get upset
You
about
can
that.
have, you can have an introvert 30 minutes.
All right, everybody, we will. Oh, that's all over my face. We will be back.
I forgot that was on.